Marianne and Connell were sort of friends all through their high school days. They both lived in Ireland, both awkward in their unique ways. After graduation, Marianne went out looking for a bright new world. Connell started to live his life, but does he get the girl? In the Hulu original series Normal People, Marianne and Connell grow up in the same small town in Ireland, but they have drastically different backgrounds. They develop a somewhat secret relationship and then spend the next several years moving in and out of each other's lives. And all that time, they keep impacting each other's emotions. This show was so haunting to me. I watched the 12 episodes over the course of 2 days, and not because they're long episodes, just because I needed to take a break. But oh my goodness, after turning it off and then trying to go to sleep, they just stuck with me. Marianne and Connell, their story was just with me and it was going through my mind, and I needed to see more. The characters are both damaged, but in different ways. I mean, they're still able to function, but they're awkward. And then they're also unsure and even conflicted. Their interactions are frustrating a lot of the time because as the audience, we see what they're feeling and we know what they want to say, except their lips just don't let the words escape. The actors do such a good job of creating their characters. They sucked me in with their performance because they're just so rich and so deep with what they show and how they emote. And really, my emotions wavered back and forth with them. I mean, sometimes I liked the characters, sometimes I was absolutely maddened by them, sometimes I was heartbroken for them, and a lot of the time it also coincided with exactly how they were feeling in their relationship. I mean, there's even times where they're stammering, like you know that they're trying to say something, they want to say something. In their head, they're like, should I say this? I want to say this, I don't say it. And they go back and forth and they're having this internal struggle. And here I am yelling at the TV to tell them, just say it already. Come on. This is going to speed everything up and make you so much more happy if you do this. And then do they? Now, the show itself is absolutely beautiful to watch. I mean, the cinematography is stunning, and you really do forget almost that you're watching a TV show and not really a movie. The locations they choose too, I mean, those just help to add to the enjoyment. And I liked also that a lot of the scenery, or at least the settings, also then affected our moods. And so sometimes when it was just nice and soft and beautiful, you felt comforted, but other times it was cold and sterile, and you felt a little bit of anxiety or a little bit of fear or maybe even some anger. And it really matched what the tone of that particular part of the story was trying to get across. Now, there is a sadness that kind of overhangs the majority of the series, and that could make it a tough binge. I mean, overall, it's not just a, leave you in the bell jar, running for the razors type of thing. It has a melancholy to it, and it's also bittersweet. But with all of that, the two leads, I mean, they're so endearing and they suck you in, and so you can't help but want to continue to watch. Because this takes place over the course of some years, there are some time jumps that happen. Now, they're not major, they're minor ones, but a lot of the time we're not given context as far as to how much time has passed. Sometimes maybe it's a month. Is it 6 months? Is it a year? I don't believe it's any longer than that. And while it can throw you out a little bit and throw you off a little bit just to try and figure out, okay, where are we at, or did I miss something? Most of it's overcomeable very, very quickly, and you move right along. The show does a really good job of putting some terrible people into our main characters' lives. And that just illustrates and helps us to understand better why the main characters act the way they do, or they behave the way they do, or even why they carry themselves the way that they do. We also get to see them navigate and negotiate a lot of their other relationships as well. And this really goes to form who they are as people, who they are as a couple, who they are just as friends. And I loved how much the actors were able to convince me that they were really feeling this, that I didn't doubt it for a minute, that they just absolutely sucked me in with their emotions, with their facial expressions, with their quivering lips, and even just their stuttering speech, that you could tell it's wavering, and just sadness and joy or love or anger is sitting right at the edge of their tongue, just right on their breath. And it came across so well. The more I think about this show, the more I really like it. I mean, it grabbed me from the beginning and then just kept digging its hooks into me. And even though it's not overly a joyous watch, I mean, there are sad moments to it. And like I said, it's got a melancholy to it. I still left with a kind of hopeful feeling. There is a ton of sex and nudity with a lot of profanity and some violence, including sexual violence. I give Normal People 4.5 out of 5 couches. So have you seen this show on Hulu? I would love to know what you thought of it in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me. Oh, and I also for the just terrible Dixie Chicks rendition at the beginning of that. I couldn't be helped. That's what happens when you wake up at 6 in the morning and, just thoughts start running through your head. And what are you going to do? Well, I'm going to share them with you, for better or worse. Thanks.